Okay, real quick little video. It's Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock, and I am exiting St. Lucie Inlet to the Atlantic. This is a notoriously difficult inlet to manage. There's lots and lots of moving sandy shoals, lots of current, and it is busy as hell. Big Carolina sports fishers and power yachts and all kinds of stuff. So it's been a little bit stressful, but I'm almost there. So I'll show you around real quick. So nice enough place, typical South Florida. What's really meaningful here is that I am headed out to the ocean, and if things go according to plan, I'll be out of communication range in about an hour and a half. And the next time my phone connects to something, it'll be Batelco, the Bahamas telecom company. So exciting. See you then. All right, well, that was a little chaotic getting out of that inlet. Tons and tons of oncoming traffic, and I think we were right at low tide. There was still current pushing us out, but I think that like low tide had passed, and sort of right at that moment, the waves were starting to build as they were coming into the inlet. So that was lots and lots of what we're doing right now. Actually, like if you watch, you can see how steep the waves are. Lots of leftover swell and not a lot of wind. So right now I think I see about not quite 10 knots over the deck from a beam, mostly a beam just ahead of the beam. I had the boat going 4 a minute ago, and then I stopped the video this, and now we're doing 3. So it could be a bit of an ugly night. Lots of this up and down. I've buried the anchor in the waves at least a half a dozen times, which isn't all bad. The sea will quickly wash away the yucky black Stuart, Florida muck, which is all over everything. But these waves are making it impossible to make any headway at all. But anyway, we'll see what the night brings. Hopefully we can get out away from shore and the waves settle down a little bit, but we'll see. We will see. All right, so this is pretty interesting. Like I said earlier, we're clearly in the Gulf Stream. I'm now just sailing, no longer motoring. And I'm making about 5.2 through the water, but only about 3.5 over ground. That's thing one. Thing two is the autopilot is aimed at about 140, and the magnetic compass says the boat is pointed about 150 degrees, but our course over ground is 115. So I think what that means is the Gulf Stream is pushing us, sort of northeast at a rate of about 2 or 2.2 knots. And I'm sure that someone who does vector math for a living would figure out that the vector of our 5.2 knots, 5.5 knots at 150 degrees plus 2.2 or minus 2.2 knots at let's say like 40 degrees would equal 3.2 knots at 115 degrees. I think that's how that math works. But anyway, we're sailing close hauled, and the boat's trimmed along pretty nicely, and we're on the rum line even with that sideways crabbing. We're on the rum line for West End, and the breeze is supposed to shift a little bit more westward overnight, so that'll make it even easier for us to continue to maintain our rum line. So things have gotten better. Carry on. Well, it's 2:30 in the morning on Saturday, and I think we're about halfway. We got about 30, I think I saw 35 miles to go last time I looked. We're motor sailing. The wind is mostly behind us now, broad reach, and just sailing we were only making a couple of miles over ground because of the Gulf Stream. So we've been motor sailing for a while now. The big news is there have been two significant failures on the boat. One of them, the anchor is lost. There's an anchor swivel that connects the chain to the anchor, and a bolt in that swivel, or the pin in that swivel, failed at some point and the anchor went over the side. I discovered that at about 10 o'clock, and the reason I discovered that is the second failure, or maybe the first. The roller furling drum has somehow disconnected from the roller furling foil, which means when I went to partially furl the sail, the furling line went, fairly easily, as though it was furling up nicely, and in fact what was happening was the drum was spinning but the sail wasn't furling at all. So when I went forward to try and understand what happened, that's when I discovered the anchor and the furling problem. So it's an expensive trip so far. Hopefully I'm gonna have to take the sail down manually. I'm gonna wait till daylight to do that, get some pictures of the stuff that went wrong, and hopefully I can sort it all out in the Bahamas. All right, good morning. It's Saturday morning at just about 6 a.m. As you can hear, we're still motoring. The good news is, after having given it some considerable thought through my naps and boredom time, I realized I thought I understood what most likely went wrong with the roller furling. And the reality is there's three little screws that hold the drum onto the foil. And I remembered that from when I did the head stay tightening in the North Channel. So I grabbed a handful of various size little screws and a couple of screwdrivers and went forward, put on my safety harness and headlight and went forward, and sure enough I was able to wind some rope onto the drum and then install a screw, and sure enough that was the problem. There were three screws. They had all fallen out somehow, so I put two in. I had two that fit, and I will have to, when it gets light, I will go forward with some tape and tape those in so that they can't fall out again. And then when I get to West End, I'll have to see if I can find 3 identical properly sized screws, and I may end up having to rethread those holes or something like that. But the good news is there's nothing wrong with the roller furling that can't be solved with a quick fix. So, the sun's gonna come up here shortly. Things are gonna start looking better for me. Now all I gotta do is replace my anchor. So it's just after 6 a.m. and I've got a big cup of coffee. We're still motor sailing. You can see the moon behind us. You saw the sun ahead of us. Still 21 miles to go, something like that. I think our ETA is just before noon, which it's not bad. It's not bad considering how strong the Gulf Stream is and was and how long we've been in it. So looking forward to getting tied up in a berth because I can't anchor until I put my spare anchor on. So we'll get tied up in a berth and find out what the availability of 20 kilogram Rocknas is, and then we're gonna have a boat drink and relax a little bit for the rest of the day. But several hours to go. Carry on. All right, land ho over here. Have a look at the color of the water. I think it's gonna change in about a half an hour when we get up onto the bank. It's gonna go to that teal blue, but I mean, this is pretty bloody gorgeous. So I'll get some video as we get closer to when you can see the difference. Got to check into immigration, customs and immigration, and then I don't think there's any slips available in West End from what I hear, so then I'm gonna have to figure out how to get spare anchor on or find somewhere else to go for the night. Stay tuned. So I'm just a couple minutes away from the harbor entrance, but as promised, look at that. It just went to this like that at 40 feet. Amazing. So I gotta pay attention to what I'm doing. Okay, so just to wrap up that video, it's now Sunday morning, 8 o'clock or something, 8:30. There was a slip available in West End. There's adventure that happened between then and now, of course. So just after that last video with the turquoisey water, I pulled into West End, Old Bahamas Bay Marina, which is clearing in customs point, and went to turn the boat and tie up. I prefer to tie up on the port side of the boat because that's the way the prop walk works. And so I went to do that, and as I was making my turn into a fairly tight space on the customs wall, went to shift into reverse and wouldn't go. So I had to bail out real quick, narrowly missed a sport fisher, drifted into a slip, managed to get in there slow enough that I didn't need reverse to do that, got tied off, pulled everything out of the lazarette and found that the emergency tiller had jostled in all the waves night before last. The emergency tiller, which is just an aluminum tube, had jostled out of its position and fallen down under the engine and lodged under the gearbox. So I couldn't shift into reverse. So got that pulled out, got checked in, no problems at all with customs and immigration. And as it turned out, there was a slip available in West End, so I paid. It's $2 a foot, which is not bad at all. The slips are quite nice. It's a piling marina, the fixed docks, but I had no trouble tying the lines in a way that the boat could move up and down the 3.5 feet the tides are here. Had a cup of conch salad and a couple of cold beers and a nap, and then a nice cool dip in the pool. So I'm feeling pretty good. Got my spare anchor on, made a more permanent repair to the roller furling. So I'm feeling like
kind of back to normal. Got a great night's sleep last night, something like 11 hours of sleep. So things are on the upswing. Now today I've got to go and find a well-protected anchorage because the winds are supposed to blow pretty hard Monday and Tuesday. So that's where I'm at. It's hot and sunny. I'm loving it so far.
So this is my anchorage. Definitely giving North Channel vibes, other than the turquoise water maybe. But this is a man-made anchorage. And I found my first little bit of wildlife. Let's see if I can get over here. Look at that little guy. Oh, there's a jellyfish right next to him. There's the jellyfish. Little plastic bag jellyfish, and not sure what that little guy is. And there, way down there in the middle, is Unhurried.